Hey guys, it's me and Artis again, and today we just wanted to talk a little bit about rate locks and what that means for you as a buyer, especially now in our market where rates are starting to shift upwards. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about that today and just explain it to you a little bit. So
I guess we're just gonna do a Q&A session of frequently asked questions that we get, and she's gonna ask me the question, I guess I'm gonna answer it, and then we'll give y'all some information.
yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I just wanted to say the different types of rate locks that there are. So there's a 15-day, a 30-day, a 45-day lock, and a 60-day lock. Those are the most common that all lenders have. And then Fairway also has an extended rate lock program that we'll talk a little bit about later. So, okay, Artis, if I am pre-qualified, say you pre-qualified me 2 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I have 740 credit score, and
Man, it's all right.
yeah, it's all right. So does that mean my rate's locked? Is my rate locked because I got pre-qualified?
No, so locking your rate doesn't happen until at least we have a contract. So pre-qualification is based off of just an estimate of what the rate may be at that time, or what we think it may be once we get a contract. But the rate is not locked at pre-qualification because we can't lock a rate until most times until we have a property. So that's when you're doing a pre-qualification, it's based off of just what we think the rate may be at the time that we think we're going to get a contract on your property.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. A lot of customers will ask us that question. They'll email us and say, hey, what rate did I get? What rate am I pre-qualified for? But the rate isn't dependent upon that. Like you said, it's dependent upon when we get the contract and what the rate is at that time. Okay, so when is the best time for me to lock my rate? Let's just say I have a contract now. So when should I lock?
So there's a couple of schools of thought on that. So one way to think about it is, like I said, once we get the contract, that's when we can start thinking about locking your rate. Because that's when we have, like I said, we have an actual property that we can tie that lock to. So you need to lock it at that point when we for sure know what the rate's going to be, which is typically what we try to go ahead and talk to our customers and let them know, hey, this is when you need to lock your rate, when we actually get that contract, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. The other school of thought is if rates are on a decline, which we haven't seen that in a while, then you might want to wait and try to float that a little bit. But that's taking a gambler's mentality, and us in our business, we don't like to gamble too much. We like to go with that sure thing. We know what the rate is at that time. We don't know what the rate's going to be in the future. It could end up being higher, and then you could end up paying more money that you didn't have to pay if you just went and locked the rate to begin with.
So that's great. That's good for me to know. One of the things that I'll just add on to that as well is the closing date is dependent upon when we might lock the rate as well. So if you have a closing date that is 45 days out, we may want to wait and lock the rate at a 30-day mark versus locking it at a 45-day lock, because the rates are a little bit more expensive locking in on longer terms. So a 15-day compared to a 30-day or a 45-day, there might be about an eighth of a difference in that interest rate depending on the market and what's going on. So sometimes we might wait until we're within that 30-day period, or if we know rates are going up, we may just go ahead and say, hey, let's go ahead and lock it so you're safe and you're not at risk for waiting until the rates may go up in 15 days. So we like to lock it in as soon as possible when we get that contract. Okay.
Yeah, so in that Fairway, we have a couple of tools that help us to not necessarily accurately predict, but to kind of look and see what the rates are doing a little bit, so we can actually help you in that realm. We can actually use those tools to help predict a little bit about where we think the rates may do, whether they will be steady, be stagnant, or actually rise a little bit.
Awesome. So okay, we talked about 15, 30, 45, and 60-day locks, which all lenders have. But what if I'm doing new construction and I'm building a house and the house isn't going to be ready for like 4 months, but rates are going up? What do I do? So
we do have an option to do an extended lock. There are some extra steps that we have to do in order to do that. Like there is a fee that you have to secure the loan to do that, but you actually get that refunded to you at closing as part of your. You can go towards closing costs, towards your down payment, as long as you stay with Fairway. And then, Shannon, you go ahead and talk about how long that rate lock is, and then also the exact amount of that fee.
Okay, so like Artis said, there is that option for new construction that Fairway offers, which is awesome. It's a great protection for you if you're building a house, and it is called the Extended Rate Lock Program. It's good for 4 months or 180 days. And what happens is we charge you a 1% fee up front to lock that rate. It's kind of like earnest money in a way. You're gonna pay that fee up front to lock that rate, and then it's gonna be locked for that 4-month period so that you're protected in case the rates go up, which is awesome. And then it's refunded to you at closing, just like your earnest money would be. So it's a really great way, especially in a market like we are in right now where rates are continuing every single week to increase. Me personally, when we were buying our house, I went ahead and did a 60-day lock, even though it was just slightly more expensive to do a 60-day lock. I knew we probably wouldn't be closing in that 60-day period, but I did it anyway, and then I just paid to extend that rate out each time I needed to extend it. So if you have questions about when you should lock your rate, what type of rate you should lock, what period you should lock, please always reach out to us. We have a lot of knowledge with this. We've been doing it for a long time, and we can usually educate you. Like Artis said, we don't usually like to gamble, especially with other people's money, right? So, we're always going to play it on the safe side and say, hey, it's better to go ahead and lock it so that you don't get that higher rate. But again, if you have questions, give us a holler. We're always available at 254-295-0905.
See y'all later.
Bye, guys.